Hi, my name's Ben, and these are my four best friends. Jake, the comedian, Jake, the writer, Jesse, the social butterfly, and Harris, our wannabe Memphis. We arrived at the Owings Mills JCC to catch our bus to JFK Airport. Once we said our goodbyes, we got on the bus and left for New York. After a scenic ride, we arrived,
one of our last American meals, French fries and Chinese food.
reunited with some friends, and boarded our flight for Poland.
We just got through a very long security process that asked us about 30 questions. Just chilling with some friends now, waiting to board.
And then we were off to March of the Living 2013.
And I always tell my children, this Holocaust was the biggest atrocity of them all, and that's because Hitler tried to erase a whole human race. And that's the difference. There are a lot of killings, a lot of pogroms, a lot of all that, but the difference is that they tried to erase a whole human race.
The first stop on our trip through Poland was Treblinka, an extermination camp. The camp operated between July of 1942 and October of 1943. During this time, 870,000 men, women, and children were murdered at Treblinka.
So yesterday or 2 days ago, you went to Treblinka. How was that?
Treblinka, I was reflecting on it kind of, and it was a lot. It affected me a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I had feelings that I didn't think I would, because I kind of always say that I'm not such a religious person, even though you can't escape your Jewish cultural identity. Speaking religiously, though, I'm not very into that. But I think it doesn't really matter where you're from when they throw around all those numbers and give you all those ways to conceptualize how many people died. It really sits in with you. So I was glad that we got started on that kind of a note, and just the atmosphere. It was, it's not like we just had one little flurry. It was snowing consistently all day long, and it was cold, and it was just, it wasn't a good mood, but it was a really fitting mood, and it was a good experience.
In there, and it's hard for me to say this without sounding terrible, but
It's interesting. Yeah.
I love the history. It was a terrible time in our history, but it is.
But a valued time too.
Exactly. It is such a vital piece of our history that being able to see it, to me, is such a great privilege.
The next camp that we visited is probably the most well-known in Holocaust history. On April 27, 1940, the construction of Auschwitz began. By the time of its liberation, Auschwitz had grown to include 3 large camps and 45 subcamps. Jews, gypsies, homosexuals, criminals, and prisoners of war were gathered, stuffed into cattle cars, and sent to Auschwitz. Families who had arrived together were quickly and brutally split up, as an officer, usually a Nazi doctor, ordered each individual into one of 2 lines. Most women, children, elderly, and those that looked unfit or unhealthy were sent to the left, while most young men and others that looked strong enough to do hard labor were sent to the right. Although the arrivals did not know this, the left line meant immediate death at the gas chambers, and the right meant that they would become a prisoner of the camp. Most of the prisoners would later die from starvation, forced labor, or torture. The gate at Auschwitz translates directly to "work makes one free." This gate has become a symbol of horror and suffering in regards to the Holocaust. Upon arrival at Auschwitz, prisoners would be asked to remove any valuables. Later, if they had been hidden, the Nazis would brutally take the objects. Some prisoners met death at the hands of a firing squad in a spot known as the Death Wall. One of the saddest sights in Auschwitz is the shoe display. An entire exhibit, thousands upon thousands of pairs of shoes that were taken from arrivals are kept here.
We walked into that room with all the prosthetic legs and all the crutches and all the things that disabled people use to live. Really, there's a giant exhibit on that, and I had to run out of that room. It creeped me out so much that those were things that people use. They could not live and just move around without those. What really pushed me over the edge was when you walked into the gas chambers, because you walk in there and one thing hit me is that you look up at the ceiling, you see the blue on the ceiling, which is what Cyclone B was that's the market left. And then one thing that made me that put me away was you see the scratches on the walls. And that for me just really put it into like a real perspective, because you can't fake those. You can't say that, oh, this was this and this was that. This was real, and those were made by real people. And then one thing that was really nice is that you walked out and you saw an obviously recent made. It was a Jewish star, and under it said "Forever." It was scratched into the walls, and that really hit me. And walking out of there, I'm done. I'm gone by then, and we were just all huddled in a circle. We were all crying together. It was really emotional and it was really nice. But once we all kind of calmed down and got back into the bus, I realized what we did. And us as a bunch of Jewish teenagers going to Auschwitz, which was literally the centerpiece of the Holocaust, we went into a gas chamber and we walked out. That was something that none of those people could ever do, and it was really nice, really powerful.
When the Nazis found out that the American and Soviet armies were approaching, they decided to abandon the camp and transfer all of the prisoners to Auschwitz's sister camp, Birkenau. So many prisoners died on this 3-kilometer journey that it became known as the March of Death. Decades later, along with 10,000 other people, we took part in the March of the Living. Following the exact same path as it did years ago, this march is a testament to the strength and perseverance of the Jewish people. We walked through the gates of Birkenau. Everyone either waving a flag, placing a message in the ground, or celebrating the fact that we were still around to do so.
And it was like a celebration of us all having similar, the same religion, Judaism, and it was nice because everyone was happy, and I met so many people from all around the world who had the same religion as me, so it was like a common ground, and it was really nice. I really liked it.
So after Madane, you got to the airport. You got on the plane. Where'd you go?
Where did we go? We went to the wonderful country that is Israel.
I've been through it all and lived many lives. I've never met someone like you. I sit on the steps as the sun passes by and think of the things you do. Check me out, a new sensation deep within my mind.
The old city. Let's go.
Because the ones that I would go to, they was like, oh, what, you want this, and like they wrap it in like a nice wrap. It was very good. 5-star eating. It was amazing.
We had no home, and here we are in Israel, and this is our home.
Strong